Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. We're continuing to take a look at some of the more recent games of Flash, who has recently become #1 ranked in the world on the ladder, finally surpassing everybody on that ladder. And, you know, so far, so good. He's been looking pretty dominant. Here, he's playing against a very high-ranked player, going by the ID here, Deer. I don't know that this is the actual player Deer, who is actually a very highly ranked Protoss. It might be. My guess is that it is. Deer is a StarCraft 2 champion that came back to StarCraft 1 semi-recently. He's very highly ranked. He's doing well. I haven't seen him on this particular account, so I'm not 100% sure, but I have seen this account playing a lot of the pros. So I will get back to you guys as I figure that out over time. Sometimes it takes a little bit of sleuthing to figure out who is playing on what account. And a lot of the times there's no rhyme or reason, where people literally are using other people's IDs and playing. It's very weird sometimes. But anyways, this is a really highly ranked Protoss that Flash will be up against. The map is going to be Pantheon, which I think is a great big map for Terran versus Protoss macro game. So hopefully we get one of those here today. Yeah. Thank you guys very much for tuning in to ArtosisCasts. I hope you've been enjoying the variety of content. A lot more different stuff still coming. Some people have been asking about PSL. I am still kind of trudging through it. It's kind of a more complicated thing to cast, audio-wise, production-wise. It takes a lot more time. The videos are a lot longer. So please do be a little bit patient. I want to finish at least the first season. I will 100% finish the first round of the first season, but I probably will finish at least the first season, then kind of reassess where we're at with that, whether I can get like a clean feed or replays, or if it's something that people on the channel actually want to watch. And I know definitely there's a lot of you who really do like it. Yeah, but you know, it all just comes down to, are people actually watching it and enjoying it and whatnot. So anyways, that's your little update for that. And of course, I've been casting a lot of games from other players on the ladder as well. Some of these top performing SSL players. And those have been a lot of fun. But yeah, seeing Flash go up to #1, definitely something that I need to check out. Okay, so we can see here, this is a Nexus first play, and it's cross spawn. Now, luckily for Flash, he was actually going for a 1 depot gasless expansion. Okay, so the 1 depot with the barracks out front and then the 2nd depot made afterwards here, it's actually kind of hilarious because, like, let's say that Protoss was here and did the probe scout in this direction, Zealot scout to the top, he'd probably just win the game against a build like this, just luck-wise, right? It's a very specific build and a very specific thing where you scout with 1 probe and 1 Zealot, and you actually want to find Terran last by scouting him with the Zealot. And against this particular build, it's a killer. But yeah, that's not the case. It is going to be a Nexus first, and this is a very, very, very greedy Nexus first as well. But because this is the greediest thing that's not Command Center first, and Command Center first is honestly a stupid build. Whenever I see a Terran do that, I'm just like, what are you doing, man? How much of an advantage are you actually looking for here, where you die if they get to your base early? It's just like crazy. But people will take those risks. But yeah, you can see as that Command Center finishes up, the Protoss is still up a couple of workers. So definitely you look at these two builds, and this one is a little bit better, but it's not, you know, 1 to 2 workers is really not the end of the world. Definitely something that you can fight back from. And in fact, in some ways, there's like some comfort when you have these two builds meet as Terran, because like, look, he's got the SCV walking around. He sees the Robo, and he saw that range wasn't started. So he's literally sitting here behind a single Marine. That's it. A single Marine is doing all of his defensive duties for him in that bunker. And because no range is being made, he knows the Dragoons are going to stay back more defensively. Look at this. He's not even planning on making another Marine. Like, these are some heavy optimizations that we're looking at from Flash, but completely accurate as to what he should be doing. Now, Armory coming up as the 2nd factory is still finishing. 2nd gas being gotten very, very, very quickly. And that makes a lot of sense to me as well. You know, if you're not going to have any ranged pressure put on you, you should get that 2nd gas really fast. Because it's going to allow you to You know, basically do whatever you want. Do you want upgrades? Do you want a starport? Do you want a lot of siege tanks and be able to get those factories up more quickly, right? These are all big questions about what you want to deal with. Now, that being said, very fast speed and vultures first, this is actually the best way to play if you know they're not getting range quickly. If you can just make a handful of vultures at the beginning before your tanks, it allows you to fit everything else you want in your build super, super easily because vultures are cheap. You know, they don't cost any gas, and it gives you some map control and some scouting immediately, as well as like anti-Dark Templar. It's really a fantastic, fantastic opener. So I like Flash, how he's doing this here. But Deer is not missing a beat. Notice that he's maintaining a 2 to now 3 worker advantage. So he's actually been better at producing workers, a little bit better than Flash here. Academy coming up for Flash. Couple Goliaths. Dude, this build is so sick. Okay, so he's gone for a Vulture opener, and he's going into Goliaths with range before a siege tank. Okay? Love it, love it, love it. And there's a lot of little tricks that you can do with this. Like, if it is incoming Reaver right away, you're going to have enough Goliaths that the Reaver can't actually enter your base because you just walk forward, target down the shuttle, and if the Reaver's shooting you, it's like, okay, you just split your Goliaths off, and they'll kill the shuttle, and then they'll kill the Reaver. If it's Observer, let's say that even it's Observer and they start walking out with goons, you can actually, because he's getting quick comsat, scan and kill the one Observer, and then they can't walk forward anymore because you have Spider Mines already. So a really, really fantastic build coming out right now from Flash. Looking over at the other side of the map, range is done. Stargate on the way. We don't see a Citadel. This is going to be a 2-base carrier. So this is cross-spawn Nexus first, greedy version, into Reaver, with Observer, of course, into the 2-base carrier. This is a build that Snow has said doesn't really have a counter. And, oh, look at that scan coming down. Okay, so that was a beautiful scan. Excuse me, sorry. By Flash. He sees the fleet beacon, he sees the second Stargate, he sees the additional gates, he knows everything. He saw the Reaver tech, he knows everything. So this is something that Snow has said has no counter, that Light has said has no counter. Like, just cross-spawn Nexus first. Now, this was a couple years ago. The metagame has changed. And we see more aggressive builds from Terran, so I don't think it's quite as hard. There was a previous meta where I think that this was even stronger than it is here, but this is still incredibly strong. It's a very good build, and I'm really excited to see how Flash wants to deal with this. Even though it gets scouted, he just goes with it, and that is 100% the right way to do this. Like, you feel pretty confident because he got that Nexus up so quickly. His probe count is really, really high. He's got great defensive things going on. Look at this. So Flash has to build a few missile turrets. He has to be careful, right? Because he knows that there's Reaver tech. But I think that Flash is just going to do like a very heavy 2-base build, like a 7-factory attack, I think. Now, notice he has a starport. We don't see the science facility, and that's something that I'm waiting for here. I'm watching for, and I think he might skip it. Oh, wait, no, he has it right here. I'm so stupid. I'm so sorry. I was like, what? He's not making it. Like, does he want to save the gas to add the factories? Like, just go 1-1 instead, but he's already got the starport. He's already got that. So he does start the 2-1 upgrades. So this is an older play that people did against this type of play where you go 7-factory, 2-1 timing push. It looks like Flash will actually move out a lot more quickly here. One thing to note is that we still do not have a Citadel of Adun, which means no speed for a huge amount of Zealots. Obviously, there is no shuttle speed on the way as well. Like, he's had to put a ton of gas into getting those carriers out. So we're going to have a very slow shuttle and very slow Zealots, which could allow for a quicker timing push here from Flash. He's up right now on 6 factory. We'll see if he adds that 7th that I was talking about before. I mean, if you're going to go completely all in, that can be good. Notice he's laying some mines here. This is for counterattacks. Also, it might help him to get this command center up a little bit later if he wants that additional gas as well. Right now, our Protoss player trying to get up to a fightable amount of carriers. 2 carriers, really not scary. 4 carriers? 4 carriers is pretty good. But, like, if you have a group of Goliaths, group being 12, the 4 carriers are dealt with. It's when you get above those 4 that it gets scary. When you see like 6 carriers, like, okay, that's a real addition to the army. And I think that what Flash is waiting for here is for his 2-1 to finish. Notice his forward position. Mines here. He's got some mines here. He's got mines here. He's got mines here. You literally can't get to this without him seeing it, but it's already in a very forward position. And having a forward position against carriers is the most important thing that you can do. If you sit back defensively the whole time, the Protoss can dictate everything because the carriers fly over everything. What you want is a forward position. So if we see the army moving, you can make the choice. Do I go to intercept the army or do I counterattack? This is the way to play against these carrier rushes. Forward army, hold the center a little bit, and then decide. You have to be very, very decisive when playing against these fast carrier builds. Now, 3rd carrier's out. The 4th one's about to pop. We'll see if he continues to make more. I still don't see a Citadel, which is a huge mistake. Like, yeah, you really need Zealot legs. The Zealots being this slow are going to make this very difficult. They're just not going to add that much to the fight. Now, let's take a look at the army. 12, 14 tanks. So that's pretty good. You know, a rule of thumb that Scan gave me a long time ago was against carriers, make sure that you have 12 tanks, but you don't really need more than that. Here, Flash up 14, totally cool. Lots of vultures still mixed in. Like, he wants to eradicate the ground army and let his Goliaths do their thing. Notice he has a full group here to fight against the 12. He has 2-1 upgrades. He's basically hitting this push perfectly. And all these slow Zealots are going to have a very, very, very hard time. Okay, drops out those Reavers. And you can see, right, the carrier's having a hard time getting anything done because there's enough Goliaths. The Vultures actually tanked a lot of damage. It seems to me like he has, like, exactly enough tanks here. Okay, I have to say this. I know I've been talking about this a lot. And look, the Protoss is actually very... Is the Protoss going to just kill this army, actually? He needs to pull those goons back. That was a little bit late. He could have saved like 2 more goons. But like we're pretty close to holding this right now. If he had full interceptors, he would crush this, but is a little bit low on that, and Flash is starting to run back slightly. But I really need to mention that if he had Zealot legs, he would have crushed that. He would have crushed Flash's army with Zealot legs. And Flash GG's. Okay. So we still see this player that's going by the ID Deer here end up winning. Like I said, you know, the metagame has changed and everything, but specifically cross-spawn Greedy Nexus first into 2-base carrier. A lot of people consider, specifically, I've talked to Light and Snow about this, and they actually consider it to be like something without a real counter. And you can see, right, like, because again, if we go back to the actual engage, right, so here comes the engage, and the thing is, I think that Flash did well. I actually thought Flash might be able to win it because of no Zealot legs. But if you look at this engage, right, like Flash has, like, basically, he's got 2 on upgrades, which is in theory what you want. He's got the right number of Goliaths, which is about 12 against 4 active carriers, right? That's what you want. And he's got the rest of it basically in Vultures to try to eat up this army and tank some damage. So I just want to take a quick look at this again to show, you know, this type of situation. Now, again, if he has Zealot legs here, I want you to imagine, because the Protoss wins. We already know. We already saw that. But imagine if he has Zealot legs. Watch this engage. Flash coming up, sieging some, sieging more. Vultures come to the front. Look at how slow these Zealots are walking forward. If he has Zealot legs, it's not even close. It's not even close. It actually got reasonably close. Where it still looked at this point, I'm like, oh, is Flash going to be able to do something here? But there was like just barely enough. But yeah, and this is mentioning that Flash scanned this as the Fleet Beacon was building, and Flash had basically the greediest build that you can do. Right? He had like the greediest. Like he skipped siege tanks. He went Vultures into Goliaths. Right? So, I mean, You can't have had a better opener than Flash. You can't have had earlier information as to what was happening because he scanned right as this was started. Yeah. And there were no Zealot legs. And if you could simply add the Zealot legs in there, you can't tell me that you can't slow down 2 Dragoons to make a Citadel of Adun and get those Zealot legs, right? Absolutely you can. Absolutely. Now, as far as what Terran can do to improve here, because it felt like Flash did everything really well and he's the smartest player and this is what he chose to do. Maybe there's a world where you can push a little bit faster, skip the starport, and only have +1, right? Maybe. That world might exist for real when you're fighting against like 2 carriers. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of my analysis of this. And I tell you, I am on the lookout for people who can beat this build because when you hit it, you're just like, damn. It just seems like the game is so math-oriented against this, where it's like, yes, the Protoss economy is a bit quicker, and they're getting these units, and it's very hard to attack, and bam, you lose. Anyways, there's Flash losing to it. Hope you guys enjoyed this Flash loss. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.